Well, this class that we just signed, you know, first early signing class here, and I really am excited about these guys. I was trying to find another adjective just about these guys. We got big real quick. A big focus was on our offensive line and the young men that we were able to target and to really try to sink our teeth into and recruit committed. And then they stayed very, very loyal to us. And all four of these offensive linemen had multiple offers, as well as several Pac-12 offers that came late and they said no to. And so the loyalty and the trust amongst those four, I think they kind of hit it off with each other. And the quarterback, Andrew Peasley, who also turned down someone late to stay with us. Again, I think it's loyalty. I think it was a tremendous job of recruiting by our staff and really developing relationships with these kids and their families. Maybe the best 3-week window of recruiting we've had since I've been here. And so when you look at it, you have the O-line, the 4 O-linemen, and then you have some immediate guys at skill positions that I truly believe will come in and compete for immediate playing time. So you look at a guy like DJ Williams, who's going to come in and compete for nickel ASAP, the nickel spot that Jalen's leaving. Darwin Thompson at running back will absolutely be in the mix at running back when he gets in here. Tim Patrick next summer at receiver, really athletic young man. And then you got Kyler Hack, who will be in here at midterm as an offensive lineman. Kyler is a junior college kid, but he only went one semester, a high school kid out of Vegas. And so we'll come in, he'll be a 4 to play 3 midterm signee that's going to be here. So all 3 of those guys will be here at midterm, as well as Andrew Peasley, who just graduated yesterday. And then the other 2, Henley and Wyatt Bowles. Those guys will Wyatt Bowles. I apologize. Wade Meacham. I apologize. Wade just got off his mission. Henley ended up choosing not to go on a mission. They will both enroll in January and be with us for spring ball. So Crew Wakely is a young man, very athletic man out of Jordan High School, and he is a kid that we think can play safety. He can play inside receiver. He could play outside receiver, and maybe even moonlight as a quarterback. But he's an athletic young man. He's going to serve an LDS mission, and then we'll be here. We have a few scholarships remaining for the January signing period, the February signing period, January recruiting period. And we also will at that time announce a couple more young men as signees that are going on LDS missions. They're committed right now but not signed today. They will sign in February. So we got really big. I really believe that these 4, along with a few of our redshirt freshmen, will comprise the future offensive line. You know, we got 4 senior starters coming back next year and 1 junior offensive lineman, return all 5 of them, and I think these 4 will compete for part of that mix in next year's training camp, as well as being these are the next wave of offensive linemen, along with some redshirt freshmen, like I said, Alfred Edwards, who's just coming off his redshirt year. I think the RO line, the signees are without question the best high school offensive linemen that we've signed on paper since I've been here. I won't comment before I was here, but I think it'll be a long time, to be honest with you. But again, one other thing of note with this class, very athletic, multi-sport class. Again, goes with exactly how I feel that I put a lot of stock in recruiting. There are 4 of them that are 3-sport athletes. 4 of these 12 that we're announcing today, 4 of the 12 are 3-sport athletes. All the rest are 2-sport athletes, except one who is a 6-time world champion fire knife thrower, twirler, everything with fire knives. It's impressive. If you haven't seen the YouTube, I would encourage you to flip it on. It's pretty cool stuff. And Hale, tremendous young man, again had multiple offers coming over from Hawaii. Another kid out of the 808 here at Utah State. I'm excited about him. He's a young D lineman that I know Frank is really excited about because we think Hale can play inside or outside in this odd defense. So with that, I think I've kind of touched on all those guys a little bit, but I'll go ahead and open up for any questions. Al, you want to start us off?
I was going to say, can we pronounce his last name?
Hale Motuapuaka.
Motuapuaka. That's very good.
Thank you.
How many times have you practiced that?
I said it a few times today,
Okay.
but I had it right on his official visit.
That's really good. What when you give these guys, walk-on guys get scholarships during the year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to count them in your numbers, or can you, how does that work? Because if they become juniors, you don't, or how does that enter into your 25 or
Just
whatever you assign?
yeah, there's times during the year that we put walk-ons on scholarship. Sometimes they count as initial counters, and sometimes they just count in your total 85. Just depends on a few factors.
So then what are you looking for to finish out?
We'll look for more skill, a few DBs and receivers, possibly a tight end. So a little bit more skill related in January.
Would any of those still be junior college, or most of them now?
They could be. If we feel like they're an impact player to come in and impact us, whether they're a high school kid or a junior college kid, we'll look at either one, or grad transfers.
Okay. And then the Utah, obviously, to make some inroads in Utah with high school kids in Utah is a big thing for this program.
Nothing's changed. No, one thing's changed. We talk about things coming off of last year, what you fixed, what you changed, and I've talked about how we've gone back and tried to reevaluate how we recruit, how we develop, some of those things. One thing that has not changed is the foundation of the recruiting success model here at Utah State. And number one, that starts with in-state kids. The mission program is part of that. Polynesian Pipeline is part of that. And so we will always look at Utah first and foremost. That's reflected here. We also have a few commitments that I alluded to earlier that are in-state kids that are in the Polynesian Pipeline. They're going to be LDS mission kids. And there's going to be some signees that you're going to see in February that are going to continue to reflect the state of Utah.
Coach, I'm curious about Andy Koch. He was first-team All-CIF defensive end. Obviously, you had a lot of success helping Roman transfer over from the offensive or defense to offensive trenches. So just kind of talk about the process of committing him on the offensive side of the ball.
I love Andy Koch. What a great family and a great young man. I think he's got huge upside. He's long-levered. He's loose-hipped. He plays both ways, and he's really committed in his mind to playing offensive line and being a developed tackle. Got the length that you want, got great feet. I think he could play D-line here. I really do. And so I think that's where you first start off, is if you really think he can play D-line, I think you got a really athletic offensive lineman. So.
Has the early signing days had changed the recruiting game at all, or still pretty similar? How you go about it?
Oh, no, it's completely changed. Yeah, the race to get the ones you want and the ones you want committed completely intensified. If not, I wouldn't have done as many home visits. I think the later bowl game this year helped us, helped me get into more homes. From the rules standpoint, as the head coach, you're a little bit limited. You're not little, you're a lot limited. You can only go to each kid one time. But I had to be in more homes early on because of the early signing period. And we were able to get kids committed, and they jumped in, and they were loyal to Utah State. And it was a lot faster process as the fall went on. And then really the last few weeks, I think more kids decided that they were going to sign early. And so I think it just sped everything up.
It seemed like reading some of the guys you got and where they were considered or offers or whatever, you did go up against some Mountain West schools. I think that's, obviously you have to try to feel like you can recruit against the teams you play in your conference, right? Did you feel like you did well against the Mountain West?
Yeah, and Al, that I think it's a little bit kind of speaking out both sides of your mouth here at a signing day press conference, because you do beat some Mountain West schools, but we have only beaten one or two other schools, or no Division I schools for kids in the past. Jalen Davis, Kyler Fackrell, Nick Vigil. Those are all one-offer guys. They had one Division I offer. And so I'm very hesitant sometimes to say that, yes, we did beat Mountain West schools. You know what? Yes, we did beat some of the Pac-12 schools. Pac-12 schools came in. I mean, y'all can figure it out, who they were and who they were on. That doesn't make that player any better than a kid that only has one offer. I believe Utah State is a developmental program, and even kids that have multiple offers still have to come in at Utah State and develop, whether it's weight room, strength training, as a football player, we're changing positions, those kind of things. I think we have to evaluate a little bit better than most schools, but I am really pleased with the work that our staff did this fall, and these back-to-back signing classes, the one last February and the one this December, I think it's going to be reflected in next year's team. 60% of last year's recruiting class is playing right now, and there's a lot of guys right there that are going to play a lot of football next year, and then the other half are going to play in 2 years. They're probably a year away. So I like the work that our guys have done. I'm very proud of what they've done.
So you expressed some pleasure over signing a kid from Oklahoma, but I imagine there's more to it than that.
Yeah, Darwin Thompson, really explosive running back, good vision, good speed, and tremendous explosiveness. Strong, lean, muscle kind of guy. Is very serious about his development to be a great running back, and I know he's already been on the phone since he signed with Coach Scholes, and so is DJ Williams. Both those young men have already been on the phone today already since we've been on the practice field this morning with Coach Scholes. Those guys are serious about their game, and great character kids. Moms were both here this past weekend. Great moms, great upbringing. Those two guys I would look to have an immediate impact pretty quickly.
Darwin's a muscle shark. His arms are bigger than my legs. I saw some of the weight.
I'll take your word for it.
I saw some of the weightlifting pictures. I mean, how Division I ready has he made himself with his body?
Yeah, I mean, he had a good season for NEO. They won a lot of games. He helped them win a championship. He's done a lot of work. He's come a long way since his senior year. I've known his high school coach for 20 years, and after talking to several guys on that staff at his high school that he played at Jinx High School, his development has been late. I would say later in his career, and he's a self-made man. He's made himself into the young man and the running back that he is right now, based on sheer willpower and tremendous work ethic. And so maybe he's a little bit of a late bloomer or a late developer, but I know the second half of his senior year in high school 3 years ago, he really turned it on at Jinx and played well down the stretch for them. And I know, it's good to sign a Jinx Trojan. It's been a long time since I've signed one of those guys, probably since I was at Tulsa.
How weird is it to have a practice on the day of a signing day?
Yeah, a little different. A little different. Yep. Yeah. I didn't think about that. Yep.
Usually you're watching the fax machine.
I know, we are.
With that kind of stuff.
We walk off the practice field this morning, or out of the indoor this morning, and got back up to the office, and Jared Russell, our director of player personnel, said, "Matt, we're all in. We're just waiting on Halle from Hawaii." Everybody's in.
About it.
No, and we actually talked to one of them during a 6 a.m. We talked to Darwin Thompson. We had a staff meeting this morning at 6 a.m. because we had player meetings starting at 6:30. We were talking to Darwin Thompson at 6:01 Mountain Time. Yeah, that was really weird.